Behind the scenes, the WNBA is facing a growing concern that has little to do with rivalries, all-star selections, or the ongoing debate between rookies and veterans. Instead, the focus has shifted to something much bigger: the league's ability to protect, develop, and preserve its biggest stars. At the center of that conversation is Caitlin Clark. The young face of women's basketball is dealing with a series of health concerns that, if not managed properly, could affect not only this season but also the long-term direction of her career. Before we continue, if you enjoy this content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 83% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's completely free, only takes a second, and your support truly means a lot. Thank you, and now let's get back to the story. Now one of the most respected performance experts in sports, Tim Grover, the trainer best known for helping Michael Jordan reach legendary status, is sounding the alarm. Grover believes he sees warning signs in Clark's current situation that remind him of the physical challenges Jordan faced early in his career. According to him, this isn't simply bad luck. He believes it's a problem that may have been preventable if addressed sooner. Clark entered the WNBA carrying enormous expectations. She wasn't just another number 1 draft pick. She arrived after breaking college records, selling out arenas, and attracting millions of new fans to women's basketball. Her popularity reached levels the league had rarely seen before. But with that rapid rise came demands that placed tremendous pressure on her body. During the offseason, Clark noticeably added muscle and strength. Many praised her improved physique, calling it proof she was preparing herself for the physical demands of the professional game. Grover, however, believes strength alone isn't enough. In his view, the real question is whether the rest of the body, its joints, fascia, movement patterns, and nervous system, adapted at the same pace. Adding muscle, without fully adjusting how the body moves, can sometimes increase the risk of injury rather than reduce it. This season, Clark has battled several physical setbacks, including groin issues, quad soreness, and recurring soft tissue injuries. Grover believes those injuries may point toward a compensation pattern, where one area of the body becomes overloaded after another begins to struggle. If that cycle isn't corrected, he warns that the same types of injuries can continue to return. Grover has also suggested that many professional organizations still focus too heavily on producing stronger, faster, and more explosive athletes while paying less attention to movement quality and injury prevention. In his opinion, training shouldn't only emphasize acceleration and power. It should also include proper mechanics, body control, and the ability to slow down safely, because those elements are just as important for keeping elite athletes healthy throughout a long season. That, according to Tim Grover, is a major weakness because careers don't end from speed alone. They end when athletes lose control of it. Caitlin Clark's game is built on constant stop-and-go movement. She accelerates, suddenly pulls up, changes direction, pivots, shifts her balance, and slows down from full speed countless times during every game. If the muscles and soft tissues around her hips, quadriceps, and groin aren't fully prepared for those demands, they become vulnerable to injury. Grover believes that's exactly what has happened. His concerns go beyond simple biomechanics. He has also questioned the way Clark's injuries have reportedly been managed. According to reports, Clark has already sought outside medical advice, something Grover views as a warning sign. When a young star looks beyond her own team for answers, it suggests she may not have complete confidence in the system around her. In Grover's opinion, too many organizations focus on reacting after an injury occurs instead of preventing it beforehand. Ice, rest, treatment, and a quick return to play become the routine, while individualized movement analysis and preventative programs are often overlooked. Grover argues that the issue extends far beyond Caitlin Clark. He believes it reflects a larger problem in how elite athletes are managed. These players depend on their bodies for their careers, yet many injury programs still rely on outdated methods. He points to Michael Jordan's early career as an example. Jordan also dealt with ankle, groin, and movement-related problems before working with Grover, who rebuilt his mechanics from the ground up. Clark, by comparison, is still dealing with recurring injuries while trying to carry enormous expectations. Off the court, the situation hasn't become any easier. Reports of locker room tension, public criticism, family comments, and constant media attention have only increased the pressure. Recovery isn't only physical, it also requires confidence, trust, and stability. For a young player under the brightest spotlight the league has ever seen, that environment can make the process even more difficult. Grover believes the cycle won't stop unless meaningful changes are made. If Clark continues returning before her body is fully ready, if her training focuses only on strength instead of movement quality, and if the underlying mechanical issues aren't addressed, one injury could easily lead to another. Groin problems can affect the hips, quad strains can create knee issues, and small setbacks can gradually become much larger ones. His message is clear. Caitlin Clark isn't the problem. In his view, the system around her needs to improve. As the league continues to grow, Grover believes its approach to player health, recovery, and long-term development must grow with it. Otherwise, the WNBA risks failing the very stars who are helping take the game to new heights. Caitlin Clark's arrival in the WNBA brought an incredible wave of attention, record-breaking ratings, and thousands of new fans to the league. She has quickly become the league's biggest attraction, but valuable assets need to be protected. She cannot be expected to carry the league's marketing efforts while also being treated as an afterthought when it comes to her recovery. As the saying goes, if you're driving a Ferrari, you don't ignore the maintenance. You don't run a marathon on a sprained ankle. So why is the league allowing its biggest rookie to battle through injuries simply to keep arenas full? That's not smart planning. It's a risky approach that could have been avoided. The solution isn't especially complicated. Bring in experienced specialists, review the training program, create a recovery plan tailored specifically for Clark, improve her movement mechanics, and be more patient with her return timeline. Long-term health should always come before short-term headlines. Tim Grover believes the WNBA is facing an important test, not just in injury management, but in deciding what kind of league it wants to become. Will it invest in medical excellence and player development, or continue relying on outdated methods that push athletes through injuries until the problems become much more serious? The disappointing part is that none of this had to happen. Clark entered the league with unmatched expectations, incredible popularity, and the biggest spotlight any WNBA rookie has ever experienced. She's more than just a player. She's the face of the league, its biggest promotional tool, and one of the main reasons television ratings, ticket sales, and social media engagement have grown so dramatically. Yet Grover believes she's being treated like someone who can simply be taped up and sent back onto the floor whenever the next game arrives. Grover has seen this situation before while working with legends like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Dwayne Wade. He believes true greatness isn't built by constantly playing through pain. It's built by solving the problems before they become career-threatening. His philosophy has never been about making athletes stronger alone. It's about improving movement, balance, coordination, and overall durability. Every small weakness is addressed before it turns into a major injury. Looking at Clark's current situation, Grover sees warning signs. She has returned to the court several times after short recovery periods, and while she still flashes her incredible talent, there are moments when she appears hesitant driving to the basket or less explosive than usual. Those subtle changes suggest her body may not be fully recovered. At the same time, the pressure surrounding her is enormous. Packed arenas, television contracts, media attention, and league expectations all create pressure to keep her playing, even when her body may still need more time. Grover also raised concerns about Clark's physical transformation. During the off-season, she noticeably added muscle and strength, and many praised her improved build. However, he believes rapid muscle growth can create problems if movement patterns don't adapt at the same pace. A stronger body isn't always a healthier body if the joints, tendons, and stabilizing muscles aren't prepared for the extra workload. It's like installing a more powerful engine in a car without upgrading the brakes or suspension. Eventually, something gives way. He points to Clark's recurring groin injuries as an example. Groin strains often result from movement imbalances, poor deceleration mechanics, or uneven force being placed on different muscle groups. The fact that similar injuries have affected both sides of her body is even more concerning. According to Grover, that's a classic sign of compensation. One side becomes injured, the other works harder to make up for it, and eventually it begins to break down as well. It's the same type of cycle he has seen throughout his career, including during Michael Jordan's early years, before those issues were corrected by rebuilding his movement mechanics from the ground up. Instead of focusing only on the injured area, Grover believes the entire movement chain should be evaluated. How does Clark land after jumping? How does she change direction? How does she stop, pivot, and absorb force? Those details, he argues, often determine whether an athlete enjoys a long, healthy career or continues battling the same injuries over and over again. Grover didn't just focus on the injured area. He studied everything: how Jordan landed, how his hips moved, how his ankles absorbed impact, and how every part of his body worked together. Every small flaw was identified and corrected. The result was remarkable. Jordan went from dealing with recurring injuries early in his career to dominating the NBA for more than a decade without major soft tissue problems. Grover believes Caitlin Clark now needs that same level of attention. It's no longer just about saving one season. It's about protecting a career that has the potential to become legendary. Clark has the talent, vision, shooting range, and competitive drive to become one of the greatest players in the league. But if her body can't keep up, that potential is placed at risk. There's also a human side that often gets ignored. Clark isn't only dealing with physical pain. She's handling constant media attention, public criticism, enormous expectations, and the pressure of being the league's biggest star. Every performance is analyzed, social media reacts to every mistake, commentators question her, and even family members of other players have added to the noise. That's an incredible burden for any young athlete. Grover believes players in that position should receive every possible resource, from elite medical specialists and performance trainers to sports psychologists and recovery experts. Instead, he believes the silence from the league has been concerning. If Clark continues breaking down physically, the consequences could extend far beyond one player. She has helped transform the WNBA by increasing television ratings, attracting sponsors, filling arenas, and introducing millions of new fans to the league. Allowing an investment of that magnitude to deteriorate because of outdated injury management would send the wrong message to every future star entering the league. Grover believes the path forward is straightforward if the league is willing to act. First, Clark shouldn't return until she's fully healthy, not simply because the pain has eased. Second, an independent specialist with expertise in biomechanics and long-term athletic development should evaluate her movement patterns. Clark's reported search for outside medical opinions suggests she wants greater confidence in the process. Third, the culture around recovery needs to change. Athletes shouldn't be praised only for playing through pain. They should be supported for making smart decisions that extend their careers. Ultimately, Clark's injuries represent something much larger than a sore groin or recurring quad problems. They highlight the difference between raw talent and proper preparation, between strength and long-term durability. The conversation isn't just about Caitlin Clark anymore. It's about whether the WNBA is prepared to support athletes who arrive with generational talent. Most fans don't see the biomechanics behind every injury. They see Clark making deep three-pointers, delivering incredible passes, or suddenly grabbing her leg after an awkward movement. They hear phrases like day-to-day and assume everything is under control. But Grover argues that every recurring injury tells a deeper story. Hidden movement flaws can gradually build into major problems if they aren't addressed. Clark's game has always been built on speed, creativity, and explosive movement. That's exactly why fans love watching her. But Grover warns that explosiveness without proper control can eventually become a weakness. Speed without efficient deceleration creates unnecessary stress on the body. Strength without proper alignment leaves athletes vulnerable. In his view, protecting Clark's future isn't about asking her to play differently. It's about giving her body the tools it needs to handle the extraordinary demands of the way she already plays. No matter how much tape, treatment, or rehabilitation is used, the same issues will continue to return if one part of the body becomes overdeveloped while another is neglected. That is exactly the warning Tim Grover is trying to deliver. Throughout his career, he has watched elite athletes break down because of small movement flaws, tiny imbalances, and overlooked weaknesses that slowly build up until they become major problems at the highest level. The real question isn't whether Caitlin Clark can improve. It's whether the people responsible for her development understand the difference between simply healing an injury and actually preparing an athlete to compete again. Those are two completely different things. A muscle strain may no longer be inflamed, but if her neuromuscular control hasn't fully returned, if her hips remain out of balance, or if her walking and running mechanics have changed to compensate, another injury is almost inevitable. Fans also need to understand the difficult position Clark is in. She has become the face of the WNBA. Millions of fans look to her for inspiration. Her team depends on her leadership. Television ratings soar whenever she plays, arenas sell out, and merchandise disappears from store shelves. But that success creates a dangerous cycle. She's viewed as too valuable to keep off the court, yet her body isn't always ready to handle the demands of playing. As a result, she continues competing, maybe with reduced minutes, maybe without full explosiveness, but she keeps playing. Every appearance adds more stress, leaving almost no time for her body to completely reset. That's how recurring injuries become long-term problems. It's like carrying around a phone with a cracked screen. It may continue working for a while, but one more drop can completely destroy it. Right now, the WNBA is taking that same gamble with its biggest star. And for what? A few more headlines, another sold-out arena, and another nationally televised game. That's not a long-term strategy. It's a risk, not only for Clark's health but also for the league's future. Think about the message this sends to future stars. What are young players like the next Paige Buchers or the next Caitlin Clark supposed to learn? That injury management in women's basketball still lags behind what exists in many men's professional leagues? That television contracts, ticket sales, and team momentum carry more weight than proper medical recovery? Talent alone isn't enough. The system supporting that talent has to evolve as well. The truth is that everyone has to prepare for greatness, not just the athlete. Coaches, trainers, therapists, strength specialists, executives, and medical staff all play a role. Elite performance depends on an entire system working together. When communication breaks down, egos interfere, or financial priorities begin outweighing player health, careers can quickly head in the wrong direction. Michael Jordan didn't become one of the greatest players ever by accident. He had an entire performance team around him, including Tim Grover, physical therapists, and specialists who constantly monitored his biomechanics and corrected even the smallest inefficiencies. Most importantly, Jordan trusted the process. He focused on long-term success instead of rushing back before he was ready. He completed proper rehabilitation, improved the way his body moved, and extended his prime far beyond what many believed was possible. Caitlin Clark deserves that same level of care. She has the talent to become one of the defining players in basketball, but protecting that future requires smart decisions today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this discussion, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.